Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We discuss all things TV. I'm your host, TV Tantrum. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. The Star Wars prequels really suck. And I know some of you are already clicking off the video, but I mean it. These movies really suck. I really do think people have forgotten how shitty these movies really are thanks to Disney and all the stuff they've made. And I'm not even just talking about the sequels, because those suck too, but also the Clone Wars and the Ahsoka series getting popular. People are just angry at the sequels and really hyped up with all this Clone Wars stuff and just throw in the prequels into the mix. So let's really talk about how good these movies really are. Star Wars Episode 1, Attack of the Phantom Menace. Now, to really explain why this movie is so bad, really just think about the plot. For those of you who don't know, his whole plan was created with his old master, and these dudes planned out the whole Clone Wars. It's why the clones have chips on their head that makes them Sims for the Sith. Sims for the Sith. That just sounds funny. Anyway, so this huge plan is the whole fucking plot of the Clone Wars itself. This whole thing starts before Phantom Menace even takes place. The fucking clones were already being produced by the time of the invasion. So had he actually succeeded, the Trade Federation would have seized control of Naboo and the whole Republican Jedi would have intervened. Now, I know some prequel cuck is thinking to himself right now, actually, TV Tantrum, if he took over Naboo, then they could have gotten the clone army and the Civil War would have happened. Yeah, no. Do you know who beats the droid invasion? It's fucking Padme, 2 Jedi, some fucking frog people, and a literal child. So yeah, I think the best duelist in the entire order, along with the strongest known force wielder and 12,000 other Jedi, would have been able to handle this themselves, which would have just forced Palpatine to try again. At every level, this movie is so boring. Nothing eventful happens, the story never changes, the entire plot of the movie is laid out from the very beginning, and nothing changes. But that's honestly a problem with the whole trilogy. Now, I'm not a writer, so maybe you need to hear it from actual writers.
We've found out this really simple rule that maybe you guys have all heard before, but it took us a long time to learn it. But we can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed, basically. You got something pretty boring. What should happen between every beat that you've written down is either the word "therefore" or "but," right? So what I'm saying is that you come up with an idea and it's like, okay, this happens, right? And then this happens. No, it should be this happens, and therefore this happens. But this happens, therefore this happens. And that, as soon as we are able to, and literally sometimes we'll write it out to make sure we're doing it. We'll have our beats and we'll say, okay, this happened, but then this happens, and that affects this, and that does to that, and that's why you get a show that feels like, okay, this to that, to this to that, but this, here's the complication, to that.
So let's break that down real quick. If your story is, and then this happened,
the worst. Somehow Palpatine returned.
And then this happened, then it's probably not a good movie. Now, if your movie is, this happened, but then this happened,
I am your father.
Therefore,
Of your true self you've only forgotten. I know there is good in you. The Emperor hasn't driven it from you fully.
then you probably have the makings of a good movie. But this movie is just, and then, but, just kidding, and then, well, I think it's safe to say this movie is boring. 2 out of 10, let's move on. Now, Attack of the Clones is really funny. I mean, like, this movie pretends it's not boring, but it's the same fucking movie as A Phantom Menace. Again, the plot of this movie makes no sense, so let's start from the beginning. Padme's fucking assassinations. So Palpatine wants Padme dead and tries to blow up her ship, but she survives. Now Palpatine has to act dumb and then sends Count Dooku to kill Padme. And then Dooku sends Jango Fett to kill Padme. And then Jango Fett sends another bounty hunter to kill Padme. And then the bounty hunter sends a robot to kill Padme. And then the robot sends bugs to kill Padme. And if you really want to get technical here, the bugs are poisonous, so the bugs wouldn't have even killed Padme. It would have been the poison. Do you see the fucking problems with the plots in these movies yet? If not, good, because we're not even halfway through this movie. So then Anakin and Obi-Wan chase the bounty hunter down into a cantina, and Anakin warns Obi-Wan that she's a shapeshifter. Now, even a dummy like me would have made her change into a patron there to kill them or flat out just escape. But George Lucas decided to have her walk up to Obi-Wan like Buster Scruggs, and to top off this whole scene, while all of this is going on, Padme is just alone in her room deciding which of her friends she'll have cosplay as her next, and Jango Fett could go kill her, but decides to kill the bounty hunter instead. Anakin and Obi-Wan didn't even see the dart, and Jango could have killed either one of them, but he doesn't even try. He just flies away. And once we finally get to the reveal of the clones, Obi-Wan learns that it's Jango Fett who is the template for the clones, and he knows that Count Dooku hired Jango Fett. Dooku even flat out tells Obi-Wan that a Sith Lord is in the Republic, and yet Obi-Wan never thinks to himself that this whole war, the clones, the droids, none of it, he doesn't think any of it is fishy. And none of the other Jedi even think anything is fishy. Wise Master fucking Yoda doesn't even bat an eye. He's just like, come with me, boys. But you know who's dumber? Fucking Palpatine. This dude has full control over 2 armies at the end of the Clone Wars. He only uses one of them to wipe out the Jedi. Why didn't he just wipe out everyone now? Like, all of the masters of the Jedi Council are on Geonosis, and all of the Geonosians are there along with all of the droids and a shit ton of clones. Palpatine and Dooku could have easily killed them all here, but he doesn't, because I guess he wants to wait until they're all hardened, battle-hardened Jedi warriors, that way he thinks they're worthy to fight them or something. But whatever. Oh, and also, the lightsaber fight sucks in this movie. 2 out of 10, let's watch the good one. Now, this movie is honestly not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but I do kind of like it. Maybe sort of. So this movie shows us right from the beginning that it might not be bad. The music is on point the whole film. I actually really like Anakin and Obi-Wan in this movie, until the movie decides that I'm having too much fun and splits them up, because we need to flesh out more scenes with Padme and Anakin. No, we fucking don't! All of the scenes with Padme and Anakin are really cringy, really boring, and none of it is actually impactful, which is pretty important, because when Vader says this, we feel nothing. There's a reason it's a meme. Yeah, most of the memes you've seen from this movie are actual plot points that make no sense. You know how Anakin at the start of the movie is like, oh no, soldiers are dying, and Obi-Wan's like, get your head in the game. Yeah, that Anakin, the one that wants to save people and be nice, kills children 4 days later because he had a few dreams of Padme dying. Yeah, you heard me right. 4 motherfucking days. The entire film is supposed to be Anakin's downfall, but we are now just seeing it. It only takes 4 days. What the fuck, George? You know how to write a story, right? So yeah, while this movie is trying, it's still really bad. These movies are so fucked that there is nothing you can do to fix them. And the fact that we still have people that like these movies and then shit on other Star Wars movies, it shows that it's just so sad. Now yeah, the music in these movies are pretty good, and other than the fight with Dooku in episode 2, the lightsaber fights are actually really engaging. I actually like a lot of the fight scenes in these movies more than I like them in the original trilogy and the sequels. In these movies, the fighting just looks so much more choreographed, looks so much more fluent. It looks like actual, Jedi and Sith fighting each other, rather than 2 people that have never fought in their entire lives, which honestly works pretty okay for the original trilogy and the sequels, up until they fucking don't. We watch Kylo fight just like Rey, Vader fights like a moron, and I know people are gonna be like, oh, it's a date at a time. I don't care. They look dumb. I like them in these movies, but that's really all I have to say. Also, the last thing I really like about these movies is actually Samuel L. Jackson. I love that he's the sole reason why Star Wars has purple lightsabers. Like, purple is really cool, and there's lore and shit behind that color now, all because Samuel L. Jackson wanted it. Too bad he didn't ask for some good movies. 3 out of 10, fuck the prequels.
Tell me something, it might just take the pain away. See, I've been thinking